Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Hey guys, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are on the planet. This is it's Me Time Podcast with Marie-Ève Mongrain. So I am Marie-Ève and I'm a mindset life coach here located on the south shore of Montreal. I am amazed by being here with you guys. I have so many stories I want to share with you, all nuggets of my own personal life, because for those who don't know me yet, and I do have over 30 podcasts already that are out there. If you can't find them, they're on my website, marie-èvemongrain.com. They're also on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Stitcher, and Amazon. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, there's like 7. It's a lot for me. Like, it's a little overwhelming. I don't know wherever you find a podcast, it's most likely going to be there. But those I name already, they've been broadcasted there. And so it's Marie-Ève Mongrain. Sometimes I do have guests. Sometimes I am enough. Most of the time I am enough. I have so many nuggets from my own life experience. And again, like for those, I was going to start with, for those who don't know me, I'm a 37-year-old. I'm widow. I want to say I'm a 37-year-old widow, single mother of 2. I've been widowed for the past 5 years. My husband passed away of cancer, and he passed at the age of 32 years old. So I've had my deal of grief. Grief was not just about losing my husband. Grief was about losing who I was, because there was a big transformation of being the sheep who's like always following the herd and like people pleasing, to finding my own voice, my own confidence, and now saying what I think without caring about what other people think about me. It's a 5-year work right now. It was in progress. But through my own grief, I did not want to die. I was afraid I would die. Actually, I was afraid of the word suicide. I was afraid of the word cancer. I was afraid of a lot of things, of pretty much many diseases, lots of anxiety. And through discovering law of attraction, I discovered I create my own reality. And I started having faith in the universe after losing, myself, after a situationship that didn't work out. And I know I'm not the only one here listening that was in situationship, not even relationship. It didn't make it to that stage. It was still just a situationship. Are we dating or are we not? I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Anyway, not seeing my worth and chasing someone, to now seeing my worth and like knowing I cannot hurt people's feelings. If their feelings are hurt, it's their own emotions, and I'm not responsible for people's emotional well-being, right? If you come and talk to me, if you come and hire me, I will help you. Of course, I will help you with your emotional well-being, but it's still your job, right? It is still your job to take care of it. I give you the tools, give you guidance, I give you a safe space to access these hidden part of yours, but it all comes from within. So I've had quite a journey, dark night of the soul, and just like spiritual awakening. For those who went through that, you know how it's not just light and rainbow. I know I call myself a unicorn, and sometimes this weekend it was like, oh, you're a mermaid. You look like a mermaid. Yes, and but it came with soul of lots of emotion. But now I'm not afraid of emotion anymore. So if you're angry, I'm not afraid of it. If you're sad, I'm not afraid or ashamed. I am there to hold space for you when you feel all these emotions, just with an unconditional love. I am source embodied, and I'm giving you that mirror for yourself. Anyway, so today I want to talk to you about a couple of things. So my car, for those who don't know, I got a Porsche 2018 at Christmas, and it was an amazing price. So now I want to live a luxurious lifestyle, but there are still some fears around it. Like some stuff that's luxurious is not pretty. I don't want it, right? But luxury is a vibe. It's not the things you possess, it's a vibe. For somebody, luxurious could be a cabin in the middle of the wood. For somebody else, luxury could be just being able to sleep in the morning without being disrupted. Luxury could be that Porsche or that Lamborghini. So luxury is a vibe, and it's something that you feel that you're deserving, that you dream of, right? For me, luxury is like always, I wanted to have some, a nice Porsche and a nice house in a nice area. And there was always this like, oh, but it's so expensive, right? So the lack mindset, financial lack mindset, so expensive. So like we would get the cheaper car or get something that's super inexpensive as long as it did the work and brought us from A to B. And at Christmas, my Honda Pilot 2018 was due to be exchanged. And I said, I don't want a Honda Pilot again. It's too big. I was looking for something smaller for my garage and for something that, that was a little more luxurious. So I tried a couple dealerships. I went to actually my first dealership that I went and allowed myself to step in was they have like a crown as they have a crown as their logo. Anyway, the car is worth $120,000. And I went there and I was ready to go and do a car, like to go try the car. It happened that I didn't have my driver's license at that time. I'm like, where did I forget? I couldn't find my driver's license for 3 months. Like, so the universe was saying, no, now's not the time to shop for your car. First, you're not going to get that car. It's more expensive than what you want anyway. But also, this is too small. Like the sunscreen, the sun thingy is too small. I'm short, so if I'm too, like, it was a huge car. There was a lot of no-nos on that car. So like, why would I force myself to go try a car that I know I'm not going to get? And then after that, I always wanted to have a Lexus. So I went in at the Lexus dealership. I saw a car. I didn't do a test drive, but I got the paper and I'm like, okay, I'm going to think about it. It didn't have a sunroof. And I'm like, you know what? I really enjoy my sunroof in my Pilot. And one day, and I'm sure for those who listened to the podcast before, you've already heard that story at Christmas with Jill. And so anyway, so now I'm like, I had the inspired like the thought of going on Porsche. Like, why would I not go and try a Porsche? I don't have to buy it. I can just go, for me, stepping onto the dealership and just looking at cars without feeling guilty that I was not going to buy a car, right? Oftentimes, we're the ones rejecting ourselves. I never went to dealership because I knew I was not going to buy it, but I never allowed myself the pleasure of just going and see them or even just doing a test drive, right? And so I went, and before that, I had checked online, and they had two 2018 Porsche Macan on the lot that were certified pre-owned, and I kind of like saw one that was super full detail with pretty much everything I wanted. Anyways, I did a test drive, and then I said, let me see where like you're pre-owned. I started to, because I told the guys that, like, well, it takes about 2-3 months before we get the new car in and blah, blah, blah. I said, my car, I'm that good of a manifester that my car, if it's not on your lot right now, it's going to be at somebody else's lot. But it's already done. I don't have to wait 2-3 months for the car to be made. And as we go downstairs, boom, I see those two. I'm like, this one is $50,000 and it has all this. This one is $50,000 and has all of this, which is less than this one. I'm like, did I not tell you my car was on your lot? This is my car. Perfect color, had everything I had on the Pilot and more, because now I also have the H ball in the back, which I noticed at home. And I was like, for $50,000 plus taxes, and I got a couple extras. So like in the end, it was $60,000. And when I brought my car back, my Honda Pilot back at the dealership, the 2022 Honda Pilot was $52,000 plus tax and pretty much $60,000. And I was like, man, my car had only 45,000 kilometers on it. My Honda Pilot had over 60,000, right? So not only was I getting a Porsche, and I'm like, welcome to family. You want to upgrade your life? There you go. Everything was lining up for me to have this. The universe was supporting my decision fully. Go do the test drive. Like everything is there. This is it, Marie-Ève. This is it. You choose to level up, it's done. And it cost me the same price as a Honda Pilot. For me, I want to step up in my luxury, and it cost me the same price as a regular brand, like a popular brand. And even my insurance, I saved money on my Porsche and I didn't have to get the tag for $500. I saved, I think, almost $1,000 on my insurance, on my car insurance, because I changed car. So not only did I have a more luxurious car that cost the same price as a regular car, like not one of the low brand, like not a small car, like it's still a Honda Pilot, like that's one of the highest, most expensive for Honda. But I used to have a Honda Odyssey, like the minivan before. So it's kind of the same price, except now I have a Porsche. I save on the insurance, on space, and now for gas, like I was telling Jill at one point, oh, I go fill up my car at Costco. Because before I did my car, I would fill up with Supreme gas for my Honda Pilot because at Costco, because it costs the same price as regular gas at the other station. So I'm like getting used to paying already Supreme. I didn't even know I was going to get a luxurious car then, right? So I was just like, well, if it costs me the same thing, why would I not get the better quality for the same price I'm already paying, right? Regular gas, let's say right now it's $2.15 a liter. That's what I paid this week. It was $2.15 a liter regular gas at all stations. And at Costco, it was $2.05. But then, so like the Supreme gas at regular gas station is $2.25 because it's usually 10 cents more. But at Costco, it was advertised at $2.15. So my Supreme gas is the cost the same as the regular gas everywhere else in town. So not only that, even on the gas machine, the gas tank, it was $2.08. So I was saving more. It was 7 cents cheaper than what was advertised. So my luxurious car is cheaper than a regular car. So a luxurious lifestyle is cheaper. We think it's more expensive because it's in our head, but there's a way that whatever you want, it's actually cheaper than, because first it's better quality, but also it doesn't cost as much as we think it is. If we think it's super expensive, we'll attract the car that's super expensive and proves that, oh my God, Porsche is super expensive. Whatever luxury is super expensive. But that's in our head, because then we attract what we create. Now I'm attracting that my luxurious lifestyle is less expensive than the lifestyle I had before. That's pretty awesome. That is pretty sweet, honestly, like, man. And so the next subject I want to talk to you is how we're always protected. And I know it's like a shift, but I'm still going to talk about the car for a minute here, because this week, like yesterday, before I went to fill up the car, this weekend, my gas tank was like, oh, on Sunday, like you have less than 100 kilometers to go. The conference center was 10 kilometers from here. So 20 go back. And so when I went, I'm like, you know what? I'll fill up when I come back. I'm not worried. And I could see like we were at 99 before we left this conference center, and I had to go and waited for about half an hour in line to go get my stuff. And it went back up to 103 because I was like stalling. And I'm like, you know what? I always have enough. Universe, thank you for proving me right. I always have enough to get to where I'm going. I will always have enough gas to get to a gas station, always. Because I'm supporting myself, right? The universe is me. Why would I let myself break down in the middle of the bridge? No, I always have enough. And so the next day I went and brought my girl to school, brought my girl to daycare. I actually went to Costco in the morning and they were closed. I had enough to bring my girls. And by the time I was going to go and fill up at the gas station, and I said, I'm just going to wait an hour and go to Costco, right? Why not? Like I have to go to Costco anyway. Why would I pay $2.25 if I can go and pay $2.15 right there, as I have to go anyway? So I got there with $2.08. So not only did I save a lot of money, but a lot. I saved money. It was less expensive than regular gas. And I had 23 kilometers left on my car. I do not like to have to be that low on my car. I do not like when I only see the little red line. For me, this is like, the stress, right? But this time I said, you know what? Why do I want my gas tank to be full or to be at a certain amount? Because I want to feel safe, right? The only reason I want my little line to be higher is so I feel safe within, because this is stressing me out. Then I said, well, as within, so without. I know I'm protected. I know I'm safe. I can choose that by seeing that line being nearly empty, I can still choose to say I'm safe and I'm protected. I have the power to say I am good. So I said, you know what? I am good until the end. And when I went to fill up and I had 23 kilometers left, I said, you know what? I even have another 23 kilometers I could have gone. Right? I'm learning, instead of saying, oh my God, it's going down, it's going down. I'm learning to say it always gets filled back up. It always does. It always comes back. I always make it. I always have more than I need. I still have 23 kilometers. I could have gone back to school, bring my daughter like for another week because it's 2 kilometers, right? Whatever. Like, so when you start to see in the present, I always have more than I need. I was there. I didn't need more kilometers. I always had enough gas. And so I decided to not stress out in seeing it this close to being empty. It was not empty. It was this close to being empty. But I chose to stay calm and say, it's going to be okay. Everything's working out always. And an example I have about this was, because then I have a friend who said, well, just make sure, especially in winter, it's going to freeze. My dad, got that happened to us. And I do agree. Right now it's summer, so I don't care. And also, like, if I'm going to go on the bridge in the middle of traffic, I will make sure I go fill up if I only have 23 kilometers. Because as much as I trust, I still am not a fool. I'm not going to go and stay in there in the middle of the Champlain Bridge stuck in my Porsche. No, thank you. I already cry in my Porsche sometimes, but I'm not going to go stay stuck on the bridge. But one story is when my husband and I, we went to buy a Volkswagen back in, I don't know, couple years back. We went to Winnipeg and we lived in Thompson. So it was an 8-hour drive from Winnipeg. So we had brought our Saturn, our Ion Saturn. That was my first car. And then we got that one. But the thing is, with the car we had the little line for the gas gauge. So you always knew where you were. The thing with the Volkswagen, we had it came in block. So the first 2 quarters were 2 little blocks. Then you had a quarter line, so a quarter. Then anyway, we had so there were eight. So we had a couple 8s and then quarters. But the thing is, for the line it was filled. So if we fill up the car, let's say that portion said it was done, but it would disappear only when it got to the next level. So in this section here, we didn't know if we were full or almost empty in that first section, right? So if you're full, the last quarter, because it would go down every quarter. It's like, well, are we full, or are we almost near 3/4? We couldn't tell because there was no gauge to say, it was just a block. And then that block would just disappear as we now what was at 3/4. But we didn't know that. We didn't know that. And on our first drive back home, we just got the car, signed the paper and left. And went back to Timmins. And in Winnipeg to Timmins, there are not that many stops in between. There's a stretch of 4 hours with nothing. Okay, so we drove, and at one point, we're good enough, we can make it to the other station. At one point, we were in the emergency tank. You're in the middle of the woods, there's nothing around you. And we're like, oh God, we must be close to this. We must be close to that area where we can stop that pit stop there. We must be close. Anyway, he slowed down. I'm like, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. And because we oh crap, we were at one of the last quarter, and it was kind of oh shit. We thought we had more gas than that, but we didn't know where we were because we didn't know how that car worked. And so we were looking in the manual, how many kilometers is left in the emergency tank, which was 50. And I think by the time we got there, because what we did is when we ended up we made it to the gas station in the end between Tapa and Thompson. For those who are listening and know where that is, that intersection, you can turn right to Thompson or left to Tapa. There's that gas station there. That's the one that we were able to stop, thankfully. And how much what we knew is we knew how many liters we needed to fill the tank. So we fill up the tank, And then we saw, I think we calculated there was maybe 4 liters or 4 kilometers left on the car. If we did not fill up the car, we had, he was a big math geek. We had about 4 liters left, I think, or maybe, yeah, in the car. But now that was an example for me saying, like, even like, man, I can run on super low. I'm still going to make it, and then I can fill up again. I am so protected that doesn't matter if I'm in the middle of nowhere, I'm still going to make it and fill up again. So now when I see my bank account, now the whole story here is also this week, I'm making, not an experience, I'm learning from me, right? Because in the past 5 years, I've been using my investment capital. So my inheritance is what has fueled me and my girls. Like, this is what paid for my podcast. So for you guys who are listening to my podcast, you're welcome. You are welcome, because it has cost me almost $50,000 for me to be able to share with you my story on all these platforms. And that was my own personal money, right? And thank you for the sponsor who has helped also sponsor a lot of it too. And other people are working on this to bring it to you. But since I started my podcast, we're now May 18. Here right now, it's May 18. I started back in August. I did not get any clients. I did not get any sign up. I didn't get anybody reaching out to me. So this is me giving to you those knowledge, giving to you those notions, because I think they're so worthy. They're so worth it, right? I used my own money to make sure I was seen, to make sure you guys got this for those who needed it. I'm excited to, get it back now. Like, at one point, like, there's a part of me that's okay, I would love now to see the financial result in my bank account of my generosity, and but I'm still working. Like, things are working out always. And this week I said, instead of, because I may have maybe a year left in that investment, like if the way I went, I mean, it's been 5 years. I even surpassed how long I thought I would have that money. So like, yeah, the plan when my husband passed away was like, this is the amount. We had mortgages, and so that to pay, like, my house was not clear. My houses were not clear when he passed away. I sold those houses because some of them had problem, and I moved but the plan was the person who was going to be alive, because I had the same amount as him, was to pay for the next 5 years. Because even when we took that life insurance, I did not have kids yet. So it's not like we planned for having kids, doing that, but it was to make sure that the person could stay home, stay with the kids if we had kids then, and be able to heal, which is pretty much what the money has been for. Healing and, learning more. But the thing is, I've been, I've had a lot of shame in messaging my investors and, well, I would like to take out like $20,000. I would like to take out $50,000, right? And I had felt shame, even though it's my money. I felt like I was asking my dad for money. And now I get one point, like, it's my money. I get to do whatever I want. It's my money. They're the one dealing with it. They're good at it. But right now, I need it. I know I'm going to get more at one point. But right now, this money was there for me in my grief. And I know in 20 years, I'll be supported differently. This money for me was not the plan to have for the rest of my life. I can worry about the future. I'm like, oh, I need to keep that money for the future and not live anything now. I chose differently. I chose to be in the present. And by being super self-sufficient right now, I know in the present, in the future, it will still happen that way, right? Anyway, so all this to say is, I still have investment, but this time I said, you know what? I'm not going to take anything out this week. I can see my bank account. I'm like, oh my God, there's more going in, there's more going out than going in. I still don't have client, and like, I'm going to stop saying this because I don't want like to keep being proven right. But I'm like, okay, I can see it. And I was stressed out. I cried. I'm like, I'm tired. It's always like, why can I not do this? Something's wrong with me. I can attract all these amazing opportunities, but not attract the money. I'm not in the receiving mode yet and beating myself up. And I said, Marie-Ève, go with just like the car gas tank. You were super low, but you still had more than you needed. Right now, can you see that you still have a little bit, but you have more than you needed, and it's going to fill up. So I decided that I wanted to keep my investment to grow as savings and grow and attract money a different way. So that's my challenge this week, is to leave it to the universe on how it's going to bring it to me. Not stress, not work for it, not just allow it. Because just like my gas tank, I had, even if it was enough, I always had enough, even when it's like super low. And as I'm looking, I have evidence that yes, it's lower than it's been, but I still have enough and I'm good. And it's just like, this is the evidence that for me, I need it. It's like, I can trust. I'm trusting my inner being. I don't know how. And that is not my job to know how. I just have to allow it. So that's why I was talking about the gas tank and how you can learn to just trust that you're always taken care of, because that's why I'm doing it financially as well. Right? I got my bank account, which is like, I'm there, it's so low, which is the source of me be able to afford what I'm doing, right? But it was such a good thing, right? And then yesterday I was gonna get money for my babysitter. I paid them $15 an hour. They're very well paid. They're very well paid here. But for a while, like I was so desperate to having a babysitter, I wanted to pay them the same price as going to work anywhere in town, right? So I'm like, well, they're gonna choose me. I'm gonna pay them so good, they're gonna choose me. So that way, if I need to get out, I will always have a babysitter. Now I got three. I got three, a choice of three. But I do believe that they're deserving of that money. And I'm like, I'm deserving of that money too. Anyway, but yesterday I stopped at one bank, which was not my bank, but I go there to take money out. There 3 ATMs were like temporarily closed, like temporarily not functioning. And I'm like, oh, this is why my bank is across the street. So I go to my bank and I go in the drive-through. It says temporarily out of money. I'm like, okay, universe, I hear you. I am not going to take money out of my bank account today. So I got and told my babysitter, I will pay you next week. And then for some reason, that night, I got a message in my email saying, oh, you're under zero right now, because I didn't know, but I had a really big hydro bill that came out at that time. I'm like, how? This is why I couldn't go. I was afraid I didn't have enough money. So obviously, to not see the evidence, the bank said, we're not going to make. The universe said, I'm going to have all the banks not have money for you to take out, because you don't need money, right? And then boom, zero. I transferred money, so there's no fees and everything, no draft. But I was like, man, I can't make up these stories. I cannot make them up. I cannot make them up. It's too, like, it's the vibration I'm on. It's so cool. I find this super interesting. So that's why right now I'm having fun instead of being like stressed, like, oh my God, I don't see it. No, I got another account. I still have enough money. And it's like, when I feel this way, what am I attracting there? Oh, the two banks, I can't use their ATMs. Thank you, universe. I will take the message, right? So this is why you always, always, always have enough, always. And it's something that we have to learn for ourselves, that we are always protected. Our inner being is us in the future. It knows that we are good. We don't need to know how. They already figured it out. So all we have to do is follow our highest excitement. And when we don't feel in alignment with something, we just don't do it and own it. And so for this podcast, that was like, I was on Instagram earlier, and I don't think I have enough stuff to talk in that half hour. I talked about like 3 or 4 points out of my 8 points. I'd written more. So anyway, I never lack stuff to say. Why am I afraid I'm going to lack money or I'm going to lack gas? I always have more, always, always have more. My inner being always has more. And so anyway, I'm excited to record the next one, because I hope you had value in this one, in this podcast. And just so you know, I'm always available. You can message me. I have a seminar that I'm offering to teach you about what I'm doing and about law of attraction and vibration and frequency, and how you can raise your thing, and how you can be so grounded and so feeling so safe no matter what's going on around you. I do one-on-one coaching. I can go in your business and teach about what I do. I can give my conferences. It's a pleasure to share my wealth with you. My wealth is my knowledge, and I have to say, like, yeah, it's not going empty ever. So anytime you want to chat with me, you want to bring me to your places, like just as a guest, it would be a pleasure to talk with you. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at MaryMongrain90 or on Marie-Ève.com. I do have all my podcasts there also. Podcasts are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Deezer, Amazon. There's on 7 different podcast broadcasting companies. And yeah, this is it for this one. And I had fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please message me, give me your comments, feedback. If you disagree with things I say, please say so. I would love to start a conversation with you. And just, yeah, have a wonderful day, you guys. It was a pleasure, and I'll see you next time. Ciao. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.